Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another great video with the majestic host for Savior. And oh boy, I just can't stop smiling today because tomorrow I have a big announcement. Well, I mean, today I have a big announcement. Tomorrow is the bigger announcement thing that's happening. Jesus Christ. I'm a professional YouTuber, by the way. But yes, I am going to Tokyo Game Show. Yes, the big event. I've been invited as a member of press. The disgusting vile species that we are, okay, disgusting influencers, yes, have been invited, but luckily I was one of them, which was quite a surprise to me. I've even got my own little Savior 3.0 business card, yes, so we're going to be making some nice connections, but I will be covering a lot of new games that will be coming out in 2025, so I just wanted to quickly say this as an announcement. If you want me to cover anything in particular, I'm going to make a community poll, so keep out for that, and yeah, just let me know what games you want me to cover and all that good stuff. And also I just wanted to quickly say that because if you are in Japan next year, because this is where I live now currently, please do stop by as when it's open to the public next year, because it's a few days open for the press and then a few days open for the public. So please come and perhaps we can do a little meetup. But yeah, maybe that's going to be something next year. But anyway, today I want to talk about Starfield and Todd Howard's Shattered DLC. Okay, I mean Shattered Space, sorry.
But something's wrong with the game, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
It can't be all that bad though, Todd.
Well, crafting is worse, outposts are worse, companions will constantly moan at you, perks are worse, there's fewer gear slots. You know, I could go on and on. Can you imagine 16 times the loading screens though?
Yes, so I just thought it would be worth covering this quickly, because I do have an interest in Starfield. I have a very love-hate relationship with Starfield, I would say, because I basically made a video about it, just this year, bringing it up to date and, looking at it with all of its updates, and I gave it a fair chance, because I did love it to begin with. Like my first 30-40 hours with it, I was just like in awe. But then I started to see the cracks, and then of course when you start listening to internet discourse and other influences to basically warp your mind, and I hope you are subscribed because of my take on things, not just the games I cover and my philosophical content, but no matter what any YouTuber says, especially big channels these days like Luke Stevens and stuff like that, please don't trust a word that they say, because at a certain point a lot of them turn into shills, okay, and I vow never to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that if you enjoy Starfield, it doesn't matter what other people say.
Who's laughing now?
My personal take on Starfield, I would say, is it's Bethesda's most polished game for sure, the biggest game for sure, but I would say it's where they lost their creativity the most, and they kind of lost sight of what makes their games good in the first place, and I'm sure many people can, understand that perspective. Like I said, the first 40 hours I enjoyed immensely, then I started to see the cracks, and I just got sick and tired of like how dull some of the side content is, the interactions, the writing. It's just not super high quality stuff when you compare it to, CD Projekt Red, The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Baldur's Gate 3, lots of great RPGs out there. It just felt very outdated, and a lot of people just hate Starfield. They absolutely hate it with a passion, and I think that's ridiculous, okay, because I think this game, the reason they made Starfield, I think, is because of what's happening with Shattered Space. I think Bethesda plan to add a lot of content throughout the years, just like they are doing with Skyrim. They've never given up on Skyrim because they have this vision of now games take so long to make that they're going to build these games up and add content to them, almost like live service single player games. And yeah, that's pretty disgusting. I don't like that idea. But for massive RPG games like this, it's not a bad idea because we get extra content, new ideas. And if they can, add new cities and settlements and fill out these worlds, especially if the modding team gets interested in Starfield, I still think it is the most, it has the most potential out of all Bethesda games for modding creativity, just how it works. And yeah, I just thought I would cover Starfield because I've got some early access stuff that I can go over that you probably do not know about. So in this video, I want to ask the question, is Starfield Shattered Space worth playing, okay? Is Shattered Space worth it? For people like me who like Starfield but perhaps don't love it like you loved Fallout or Skyrim. I absolutely am a diehard Fallout fan, except for 4, it's an okay game. But, you know, Starfield, I don't really have any strong feelings towards it. I enjoyed modding it for quite a while. I enjoyed playing with the bounty hunting update and the kind of different tweaks they added to the gameplay where you can customize your experience. I think that's all great stuff, but still, you know, with the car that they added, that's cool stuff. It actually drives well and it's fun, but I just think how Starfield is actually designed, the level design itself, the, you know, questing and the lack of interesting characters in Starfield is what really holds it back. Like, the lore in Fallout is just so interesting compared to Starfield's lore. I'm sorry, that's just my personal preference. Some people absolutely love it, but I just think the universe, they went for such a grounded take that it lost some of its charm. That's what they're trying to rectify with this game. And the just lack of, you know, interesting creative risks that they took and the change in exploration. I think that's why most people don't like this game. But to say that it's the worst game ever, like, you know, doing 8-hour video essays like goddamn Luke Stevens, I really don't like his content if you can't tell, you know, on a game that, you know, isn't actually a bad game. I don't think I will be doing a Starfield Shattered Space review, but I do want to talk about the Shattered Space reviews because I think this is going to be the big thing that really just, you know, makes this either hit or miss, to be honest. There is so much unfair hate towards Starfield, just because it's kind of cool to hate Bethesda now, and yes, they have fallen from grace, but honestly, you know, they still have made amazing IPs and games before, and I do believe they have it in them to come back. So I think, you know, the reviews for Shattered Space are going to be mixed, no matter what. No matter if this is actually a return to form by Bethesda, it's just going to get a mixed negative response because there are many people out there that have kind of jumped on this tribal thinking, you know, like with any tribalism, politics, or, you know, console wars. It can be, you know, something big, it can be something small. Sadly, people are tribal, and that's what I try and destroy on my channel, just be as objective as possible. And Shattered Space will get mixed reviews no matter what, okay? Simply because people can't be fair about judging it anymore because it's cool to hate Starfield. It gets clicks to hate Starfield. So yeah, I just want that to be known. Please just, if you are a Starfield fan, give this a try, especially as if you are a massive Starfield fan, you probably got this already as you got the, you know, kind of special edition on launch that already includes the DLC if you pre-ordered it or whatever.
Who's laughing now?
So if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing and become a wise one. We try and do OG YouTube here, you know, not the high production, crazy Mr. Beast stuff, retention bullshit. Okay, I just like to keep it old school, have a, you know, proper, you know, like a back and forth with you guys. That's what I love doing, reading your comments, interacting with you. Yeah, so subscribe, become a wise one. If you like gaming analysis and deep yearly reviews, early reviews, and philosophical content, my take on gaming is very analytical, so I try and do it from that angle to give you something new. So consider subscribing and consider supporting the show, as I am an independent creator. I'm trying to do this full time, so consider checking out my music on Spotify or by dropping a donation or becoming a member. Thank you very much. Now, that's enough shilling. So the first thing that you need to know is Bethesda, okay? Goddamn Toddy boy. Todd Howard, the man himself, the man in the leather jacket, okay? We all know the meme now. It's gone a bit far. It's a bit creepy how YouTubers have cardboard cutouts of him. It's very funny. But, yeah, Todd Howard, all you need to know about him is he is charismatic. He is genuinely a nice guy, I believe. But he is a master marketer, okay? And they know that by saying this is a return to form, that this is going to get old school Bethesda fans back into Shattered Space. Now, from what I've gathered from all of my, you know, digging, okay, like a little squirrel just digging for nuts for the winter, is this is going to be, you know, a one planet DLC, okay? There is going to be other locations added as well, off-world, and there's actually new planets being included, but the main, you know, quest is all going to be focused around this one planet, okay? And you need to understand and get that, you know, your perception around that. It's not going to be the whole planet is open to you, but I do believe they are trying to capture the kind of Phantom Liberty design philosophy, okay? So the points of interest, I don't think they're going to be randomly generated like the, you know, other points of interest in the base game. That was the problem with the base game, because side content just wasn't interesting. Only side quests, that you can actually find in the cities were somewhat interesting, and that was hit and miss as well. But this time around, the points of interest, I believe, from what I've gathered, it's actually going to be curated, locations, okay? So they are going back to that old Bethesda style of exploration. So you see something in the distance, you go to that location, and it's actually going to have some kind of unique experience there. It's not going to be copy and pasted by AI, which I'm sure most modern day games will be. So that is quite exciting, but you still need to have your expectations in check, because this is still Starfield, okay? So it still loads on, a tile per tile basis. You have to get on your ship and then land again on the planet, take off from the planet and land back in on the planet to explore the next tile with, more curated experiences, okay? Because that is fundamentally how Starfield is designed, but they have definitely designed this planet with the new vehicle, the car that they added, the Jeep, the buggy, whatever the hell you want to call it, in mind, okay? So getting from one location to the next, it is still quite a big play space. There's going to be a lot more storytelling, environmental storytelling, and good quality Bethesda level design, I believe, from what I've gathered and from the sources closer to Bethesda. Also, there will be quests taking you off-world as well, which of course we expected, so it's going to flesh out the base game as well. But the thing that I really want to, highlight here is I do believe they are trying to capture that Far Harbor kind of Fallout 4 DLC vibe, because House Va'ruun is quite an interesting faction. If you know, you know, because there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. They've had a long time building this up, and I think that was on purpose so they could actually gauge the reception of people and Starfield, and then they could, kind of fine-tune it. And now they have, basically gone back on their words and said that they're scaling down instead of scaling, up and making it, span across the whole galaxy. So the fact that all of this curated content by Bethesda themselves is going to be on this one single planet, I think that's going to be a big positive for many, but it might still not save Starfield, okay? That all depends on the faction. And basically, from what I've gathered, is the quest will mostly decide on, the outcome of House Va'ruun, and you will basically decide which faction sits, upon the throne, basically, of House Va'ruun. The Vanguard mission in Starfield did surprise me, and many, I believe, because I was expecting the rest of the quality, the quests and stuff like that to follow that same quality. Sadly, they didn't, but if they did, Starfield would be a great game, because they had some really good standout moments in that quest line, especially being chased around by, the giant-looking turd alien thing. I can't remember what it's called. But basically, they are going back to that and the horror aspect of that experience. So that's going to be quite exciting. They're also adding a bunch of new enemy types, new alien life. You will still be fighting pirates and spacers, which is very disappointing because they're very boring to fight. The AI has also been improved. That's already been improved, with the updates and stuff, but it's going to be even better because they're going to be more aggressive and flank you and stuff like that by the looks of it. Also, Bethesda have been playing around with having, the RPG conversation, having more impact again compared to like Fallout 4. It's still not as good as New Vegas, obviously, or even Fallout 3, I would say, but it is close to Fallout 3, and they have been experimenting with some paid content quest lines, like the kind of Squid Game ripoff that they did, which was kind of weird, but still, they are experimenting more with, dialogue consequences, and I do believe that the factions will actually, have different, kind of branching paths and stuff like that. So that's exciting for, Bethesda RPG fans like me when they used to make more RPG kind of experiences. So picking that Va'ruun perk when you customize your character at the beginning should actually influence your interactions with the factions and stuff like that. And I do believe they are honing down on that, just like they did with Far Harbor by the sounds of it. Apparently there's going to be unique weapons as well, and Bethesda, have kind of said that they're not going to do unique weapons as much as they used to do, but there will be some unique weapons in this game, some cosmetics, some customization for your ship, stuff like that. And also it is going for cosmic horror, so I really do hope that they actually make this interesting, because that was the problem with Starfield. I like the NASA punk aesthetic, I really do. I think it's super cool, but you have to actually make the universe feel believable and you know, have more interesting lore. I mean, Fallout has such a rich lore, of course, and Starfield is a new IP, but it just never felt, you know, like they had enough. And a lot of things just didn't make sense in base Starfield, I would say, and it just lacked that mystery. And I do believe that with Shattered Space, they are going for that mystic, cosmic horror, hopefully some metaphysical questions and stuff like that. You know, Bethesda can write intelligently, and they can have deep moral quest lines and choices that really make you reflect on, you know, oh, did I do the right thing? Far Harbor being a good example, and especially Fallout 3 DLC. So I really do believe they are trying to capture that essence, so then they can hopefully build upon Starfield and then onto Elder Scrolls 6 and stuff like that. So is Shattered Space worth it for people like me who are mixed on Starfield, okay? Now, like I said, I enjoyed modding it, I enjoyed playing around with Starfield, but then after doing the bounty hunter stuff, I just realized, you know, the writing and the quality of quests just weren't fulfilling, okay? You know, once you've done the main faction quest, it just doesn't have enough out there, and the base gameplay loop just isn't as interesting as I would have liked compared to that exploration or the wacky quest design and choices in Fallout or the Outer Worlds or something like that. So I think, you know, this isn't going to be worth it, okay? I do believe that this is going to help Starfield, but I don't believe that Shattered Space is worth buying for people like me who had their fun with Starfield but moved on. I just don't think it is worth it because I don't believe that it's going to radically change Starfield. They say it has implications and it will change the settled systems. I don't believe that one bit. I'm very skeptical of the consequences and choices, and I believe that they might all just funnel back into the same path, the quest choices that you do choose in the end, and it's more the illusion of choice again. They need to, you know, kind of just change up the combat. They are adding new items like gravity grenades and unique weapons and stuff, but still they need more. They need to add something more to make the combat in Starfield really stand out and feel more just, you know, exciting, okay? Have more abilities and stuff like that to play around with, just with base gameplay and gunplay, okay? So I don't think it's radically going to change Starfield, but I do think that they are going to focus on the exploration a lot more, and you will feel that old school Bethesda vibe exploring these locations, even if it will be a little bit segmented. You know, it's still Bethesda at the end of the day, but I still do think it's worth it for die-hard Starfield lovers. They did play around with interesting ideas, and the ideas of, you know, like, you know, an interconnected universe and consciousness, and I do believe they're going to delve into that, you know, like a hive mind consciousness type deal, and they always have the potential to make something interesting. Like when I stumbled upon that AI quest line, when you find that AI on an abandoned ship, but then when you ask it questions, it's just very shallow. Like they're close, but they just don't have that insight or that intellectual depth of writing to make it interesting. So I just don't think the factions here will, you know, truly be a revolutionary story, even though it might touch on some interesting ideas, interesting art style, you know, floating around on these gravity bubbles, doing this kind of more interesting traversal, you know, jumping from one bubble to the next, and they'll be shooting and platforming and stuff. But I just don't think it will save Starfield, and no matter what happens, the Shattered Space reviews are going to be mixed, and we just can't change that. So please remember that going in, because Starfield is such a weird game at this point. So I just thought I would talk about it as it's quite interesting, and as I am a fan of Bethesda games. So there you go. Is Shattered Space worth playing? No, not if you're like me and you've had your fun with it, because I don't think this is going to change anything massively. But if you enjoy Starfield, of course, you know, that's a no-brainer. But I just thought I would answer that today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and look forward to my vlog and my coverage from the Tokyo Game Show. And yeah, have a great day. Peace out.